whatever we all had done, how we have to divide the wages of those workers who are paid on fixed basis. So for that, first thing that we all require, compute C to C. Now you all know the meaning of that. Second thing, how to be dividing that C to C among the various jobs. You have two methods, find out labor hour rate. Okay, and based upon that you charge. Any time that is not accountable will be treated as abnormal idle time and will be debited to costing profit and loss account. Okay, that was one thing. The other thing was percentage method. So now our last question that is there on that particular funda is on percentage method. So let's start to do this particular question. Question number 33, please. It's on percentage method. There will be no mention of job cards in such kind of questions. No mention of those particular things. Directly they'll give you the percentage, divide the things in that particular ratio. There's one thing that I explained you all the other day. If any overtime is done, especially for that particular job, will you divide that also in that particular ratio? No, that will be directly going to that job. Okay, so let's read it. Calculate the earnings of workers A and B from the following particulars for a month and allocate the labor cost to each of the jobs X, Y and Z. Okay, job A, job B. Sorry, I guess it's worker A and worker B. Okay, there are three jobs, that is X, Y and Z. So basic wages 100, 160, dearness allowance that's 50%, contribution to PF as a percentage of basic wages. Okay. Contribution to ESI as a percentage of basic wages. Overtime done on, please underline job Y. The normal working hours for a month are 200. Okay. Overtime is paid at double the total of normal wages and dearness allowance. Okay. So the normal working hours are 200 in a month. Overtime is paid at double the total of normal wages means basic wages and dearness allowance. Okay. Employers' contribution to ESI and PF are at equal rates with employees' contribution. This thing I think even if those guys will not tell us, we already know that thing. The two workers were employed on jobs X, Y and Z in the following proportion. So job X, Y, Z, worker A, worker B, 40%, 30%, 30%. Worker B, 50, 20 and 30%. Okay. Done. So they have given you the percentages now. If they have given you the percentages, then in that particular case, we will be following that percentage method. And nowhere in the question it was being told to us, nowhere I think, okay, that we have to be like, finding out labor hour rate, job cards were there. So all those things are not even there in this particular question. Okay, let's compute our C to C first, then we all will proceed. You all write down please. Calculation of C to C. Calculation of C to C for the two workers. Calculation of C to C for the two workers. You have worker A, you have worker B. Basic wages. Now, basic wages are 100 and 160. So, write down over here 100. Write down over here 160 plus dearness allowance 50 and I guess 50% of this na, so this will be 80. Yes, I told you always total up these things. It's always a must thing only. Somewhere or the other it will be of use to you all. Now we have to be reaching till ESI. So tell me, we got to be adding employer's contribution or employee's contribution? Employers. So therefore please write down add employer's contribution to PF and ESI. Okay. So first of all, I'll take the things for PF. It is 8% of basic wages. So I guess basic wages are over here. So it will become 8 only. And there, just do 160 into 8%, please. 12.8. ESI 2% of basic wages. Basic wages in this particular case are this only, no? So 2 and 3.2. This is C to C, 160, 256. But obviously this is excluding overtime. So add overtime. Now everybody is reading 2 lines that I'm telling you all, and please read it 3 times. Okay, it'll take maximum 20 seconds to be reading it 3 times. Underline this, please. Read?
Yes, sir.
So first, I guess we got to be calculating normal rate. Overtime will be double of that particular rate. Then we will compute how much are the overtime wages. Okay. So for overtime, let's compute normal rate. Now what those guys saying? Overtime is paid at, okay, double the total of normal wages and dearness allowance. So normal wages is, one sec. Overtime is only there for which worker? Worker A. So I'm only taking the data of worker A, please. So therefore 100 rupees we all pay to him as basic wages. Dearness allowance we pay him 150. So this is the rate. Okay. No, this is not the rate. These are the total wages. We got to be finding out rate. I guess rate will mean rate per hour here. Tell me 150 rupees we usually pay him for how many hours beta in a month? 200. So therefore this particular thing will be 0.75. Obviously 0.75 per hour. Can we say OT rate will be double of this, no? So 0.75 into 2. This is 1.5 per hour. Overtime amount. Tell me this guy has done overtime for how many hours beta?
10 hours.
10 hours. 15 bucks. So this is C to C, including overtime, 175, 256. Now listen to me very carefully. Now this cost, those guys have told, allocate the labor cost to each of the workers, to each of the jobs XYZ. Now see this line. The 2 workers were employed on the jobs XYZ in the following proportion. Worker A 40, 30, 30. Worker B 50, 20, 30. Think, then reply. Should I divide this among the 3 jobs in the ratio of 40, 30, 30?
No.
No. Why I am wrong?
It includes overtime.
It includes overtime, and overtime was especially done only for which particular job?
Job 1.
Job Y. So therefore, obviously you tell me what I should divide in the ratio of 40, 30, 30 then?
160.
160 and 15 rupees. So directly we'll transfer to job Y only as such. Okay. So let's try to be making that statement, please, right now. Allocation of labor cost. So job X, job Y, job Z total, worker A normal overtime, worker B only normal. So this is 160, this is 15, this is 256. So worker A's normal things will get divided in the ratio of 40, 30, 30. So divide this in the ratio of 40, 30, 30. 40, 64, 48, 48. Then 15, you all told me, it will be directly going to which job, boss?
Y.
Y. And 256, please divide in this particular ratio, 50, 20, 30. Do the totals, finish of the question. Okay, done everybody?
Yes.
Okay, listen. Yeah, this part is altogether done. Okay, now see. Our last 3 questions on this entire chapter are all about overtime. Okay. Now before I'll start with this, just I'm asking you all, just like that only, try to run your creativity. Okay, and try to tell me, during overtime, you all saw in the last question also, can you say workers will be usually paid a higher rate, no? Because they are working more than normal, correct, no?
Yes. Yes.
Why will a company resort to overtime then? I'm just asking, just a general question. This doesn't have a standard answer in my mind. You will talk, I'll discuss and I'll finish it off. Just like that only. Why does a company work overtime? Not related to this question, just general thing. Okay. Why overtime happens?
Sometimes the little work is more, so that's why we do.
Sometimes little work is more. Okay. Suppose we had set a deadline for some work, but then workers did not complete it in a proper way. Okay. So therefore we had to resort to overtime. Good point. Okay. Something else?
Or increased production.
Increased production. So suddenly in this particular case, say that there was a demand. Okay. Suddenly there was a higher demand. So therefore in that case we thought just for this temporary higher demand, why should I buy more plant and machinery? Okay. I thought why to hire more workers? Okay. I'll tell these particular workers to be working more. Okay. Somebody can be saying, so better to hire more workers. See, one thing, there's a lot of problem in hiring people. When you all will grow up, you will start to be realizing that, machines are faithful to human beings, but the human beings are not faithful to human beings. Correct, no?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously, so it's difficult, to manage more number of workers. You will start to recruit more number of workers. So there will be more fights in the organization. The workers fight. Apart from that, more workers will mean more amount of training cost, more amount of testing cost. Okay, and new workers will take a lot of time to be adjusting to the new products, to the new working conditions. Okay, so mostly a company decides, if suppose we can try to have same number of workers, we'll pay them slightly higher. We have to spend somewhere. If you are going to be spending on the new workers, okay, it's better with lesser number of workers, you try to do the overtime. These guys will also get paid more. Okay, so therefore it might be a better way. Space might also be limited. So therefore if more number of workers will be there, the factory might become lot congested. Okay. Or it might happen, as somebody told also, I was expecting that this product will not be doing good, but suddenly there was a huge demand. Okay. So that in that particular case, there could be that we have to be increasing the production. We don't have much time to be buying new machinery, and buying new machinery might mean huge amount of capital cost. I don't have that much amount of money. So better in this case to be having the overtime. So overtime can happen due to various reasons. It can happen due to your bad planning also. Okay. You had predicted demand to be this much. Okay. But then when you predicted that, you predicted it wrong. Your calculations were wrong. So suddenly demand came from other places also. Okay. So overtime can happen due to anything. Now overtime is basically a worker working more than the normal time. That is called as overtime. Okay. And usually he is going to be paid more. Okay. Now for overtime, there are certain rules that are there. Okay. But what happens is a company can override those particular rules of law and try to have their own rules. Okay. So that's what we are going to be seeing in next question. Might not be this particular question. In this question, company has made its own policy. This is our overtime policy. You just try to follow the instructions. Okay. I'm reading that question number 34, please. Calculate the normal and the overtime wages payable to a workman. So Monday he has worked for 9 hours, Tuesday 10 hours, Wednesday 9, Thursday 11, Friday 9. On Saturday he has worked for 5 hours. In all 53 hours. Normal working days of 8 hours. Normal rate is 0.5 per hour. Overtime. Now see, read carefully. Over 9 hours a day at single rate and over 9 hours a day at double rate. Okay. I'll read this thing once more. Up to 9 hours a day at single rate and over 9 hours a day at double rate. This is one option that is there. This is one option. Or up to 48 hours a week at single rate and over 48 hours at double rate. So either the red option or the blue option, whichever is more beneficial to the workman, whichever is more beneficial to the workman. So you compute his wages as per the red line, you compute the wages as per the blue line. Whatever is more beneficial to the workman, can we say that thing will mean that wherever his wages are higher, he can go for that option, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm giving you in all 2 minutes. I'll give you one hint also. This data is of no use. Okay. Because your double rate as per this red line also starts over how many hours a day, beta? 9 hours. So that 8 hours is given for time pass. Okay. This line, so obviously says all the things. So you all do one simple thing. Calculate the wages of this worker as per the red line. Calculate the wages as per the blue line. I will do the tougher task. I will pick up whatever is higher. Okay. I give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes should be enough for this particular question. Okay. It's oral question, but rest is your wish. You can write it in pencil wherever. Okay. Get me the answer. Don't do anything in fair, please.
So 48.25 and 52.
No. Beta, single rate is 0.5. Compute no properly.
So red line 828.
And blue line?
Doing, sir.
Okay.
Red line 30.
No.
So 28 and 29. Yes, sir. 28 and 29.
Listen. We'll start away with option 1, then we'll go over to option 2. You all write down option 1, please. Now, option 1 is up to 9 hours a day at single rate. Okay, so let me just make a table. That will be far better. Days, hours worked, up to 9 hours, and overtime. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So hours worked in this particular 9, 10, 9, 11, 9, 10, 9, 11. Oh, ho, 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 ho. 9, 5. Okay. So up to 9 hours. So 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. Can you say in last case, I'll write down 5 only, no?
Yes.
Because in any case, 9 hours didn't happen only, no? So 9 into 5, 45, 50. So over time, up to 9 hours, we all have written over here. We are writing beyond 9 hours over here. So therefore 1, we are writing 2, 3, total. So therefore normal wages, or you can say single rate wages, whatever you wish to be writing. 50 hours into 3. Sorry, nonsense. 50 hours into 0.5. Rupees 25. Overtime wages. 3 into double the rate, no? 1.00. Okay. Under option 2, up to 48 hours, a single rate. So therefore 48 hours into 0.5, 24. And above 48 hours, tell me above 48 hours will make it how many hours, beta?
5 hours.
5 hours, because it was 53 hours, no? So therefore out of that 48 is written over here. So therefore 5 into 1. So therefore this will become 5. Total becomes 29. Whatever is more beneficial to the workman. Okay. So therefore obviously this is more beneficial. So write down option 2 is more beneficial to the workman. Hence pay rupees 29. Done, everybody?
Done, sir.
Now see. Now listen very carefully. These last two questions are also there in the module and slightly newer ones as compared to the other questions, like that has been put by the institute. But for this, in your book I have written this note. Now see, you might have heard of this also in your entire life. I think so. You might have heard it at least once here. There is something called as Factories Act 1948. Have you ever heard about it? Ever? Just a name also. Now, Factories Act is applicable to our country, obviously. Okay, and there are few rules that are mentioned in Factories Act that every company has to abide by. Okay. Either a company can make rules which provide more wages to the worker as compared to Factories Act. Okay. Or it might not provide any rule. Then in that case, Factories Act will apply. But a company's policy cannot result in lower wages as compared to whatever is mentioned in Factories Act. Was my language very clear? So, company cannot exploit the workers by giving them wages which are lower than whatever is mentioned in the Factories Act. You can obviously be paying more. Okay. Somebody says, sir, what if I do it and nobody comes to know? See, that too you can murder somebody also and nobody will come to know. Okay, so I'm not talking of those things. Legally, what you have to be doing, I'm trying to tell you that particular thing. Okay, so for anybody, for any company as such, this Factories Act will always apply. You can override it by making your schemes better than this, but you cannot override it by making your schemes which result in lower wages as compared to this. Are these words clear? You will have to tell me first, then I'll proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, what does this particular act say? Okay, now, honestly, no, this should not have been there in your portion, to be very honest, because Factories Act is very big. Okay. And they put 3 paragraphs out of that. But even they don't understand that particular thing in a proper way. So, therefore, they have only asked the questions out of the 3 where only 1 paragraph will apply. I am explaining you all 3, okay, but they will ask questions only on the first paragraph. So let me read whatever is this all about. Rate and conditions for overtime premium may either be fixed by the entity itself or it may be required by any statute in force. So statute means any law in force. The overtime premium should not be less than the premium calculated as per the statute. You understood this line, no?
Yes.
You cannot pay the overtime which is going to be lower than this, no matter which company you are, how big it is. Okay, further. As per the Factories Act 1948, which is a statute, which is a law that we are trying to be talking of, where a worker works in a factory for more than 9 hours in a day or more than 48 hours in any week, he shall be, in respect of overtime, be entitled to wages at the rate twice of his ordinary rate of wages. Okay, I guess this is exactly same as a question that we all did, no, right now?
Yes.
So a worker, whatever you did actually now, that was also the same thing that is told in the Factories Act. So therefore, a worker can claim overtime for more than 9 hours a day, or he can claim the overtime for more than 48 hours in a week. Okay. And obviously a worker will be taking advantage of both these things and ultimately will be selecting whatever is higher. Okay, wherever he gets more money, he'll be going for that particular thing. Okay, so this is your first paragraph that is there. Okay, so therefore this thing you got to remember. Okay, if they'll tell you now, apply Factories Act for calculation of overtime, so directly apply this particular thing. Okay, but now in this particular case there are two things more. Okay, see, where now this is a second paragraph where any worker in a factory are paid on piece rate basis. Can we say under piece rate basis worker will be paid based upon unit by unit? No.
Yes.
Then how will overtime apply? So therefore the act tells you that particular thing. The time rate shall be deemed to be, okay, the time rate shall be deemed to be equivalent of daily average of their full-time earnings for the days on which they actually worked on the same or identical job during the month immediately preceding the calendar month during which the overtime work was done. And such time rate shall be deemed to be the ordinary rate of wages for these workers. You read this thing, then I'll explain you, but you read it first. Read it properly, please. Once read, do let me know, then I'll explain you with the help of some numbers. Okay, see, first of all, you pronounce this word no for me. We are trying to study everything about, you tell me those words, I'm trying to teach you everything about
Overtime.
over, speak this word again,
Overtime.
time. So can we say under overtime, you are paid for extra time, no?
Yes.
You are not paid for extra units, beta. You are paid for extra time. Okay. So therefore, I require that time rate in every case because it is overtime. Okay. So therefore, they are saying now, what about like, you know, those workers who are there on piece rate system? Example, a worker worked for overtime in April. Okay. Worked for overtime in April. He was under a piece rate system. Okay. Then what do? For calculating the overtime rate, can we say overtime rate in this particular case will be double of the ordinary rate? Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
But can we say that rate has to be rate per hour? No.
Yes, sir.
So now this particular paragraph, if you have read very properly, it would have told you that for calculating the overtime rate for April, you don't have to take the overtime rate of April because you are trying to compute for April. You try to take the things of the previous month. Okay. And means previous month of April means March. Okay. So therefore in March, what data do you all take? You try to be finding out his daily average earnings. Okay. Daily average earnings. Can we say if he is there on a piece rate system? Okay. Then in that particular case, piece rate system, he will be paid wages equal to number of units produced into rate per unit. Correct? No?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So suppose that on an average, worker produced 10 units every day. Okay. On an average. Okay. And he was paid 30 rupees per unit. Okay. So therefore, can we say his daily earnings must have been around 300 rupees?
Yes, sir.
And suppose they are supposed to be working for 8 hours each and every day. So therefore, can we say on an average, he was earning 300 rupees for 8 hours of work, no?
Yes.
Ultimately, a worker in March was not paid upon piece rate system. No. Sorry. A worker in the last month, in the month of March, was not paid based upon the time-based system. No. He was paid based upon which system? Piece rate system only. But for the purpose of overtime, you have to be converting this piece rate system into a time basis system. Okay. And how do you all do that? You take his daily earnings. So therefore, that was suppose 300. How did that 300 also come? It was say 10 units at the rate of 30 rupees per unit. Okay. So 300 rupees divided by, say that he was working for 8 hours a day. So therefore, 300 divided by 8. This particular figure is 37.5. So therefore, his ordinary rate will be deemed to be 37.5. So therefore, can we say his overtime rate will become double of this? It will become 75 rupees per hour, no?
Yes, sir.
So in the month of April now, in the month of April, whenever he will be doing overtime, can we say he will be paid at the rate of 75 rupees per hour, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, now this is one case ICA has never ever asked. Okay, honestly, as per me, they will never ever ask also because it becomes too complicated. Okay, and there are some other things also. Okay, but then in any case, I have explained it to you. You do not take the data for April because obviously you are trying to compute the overtime for the month of April. You take the data of the last particular month, convert that into rate per hour, double it up, that will be the overtime rate. So therefore, for the month of April, the overtime rate will be 75. Is that all okay for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the second paragraph of this law. Okay, now third. Now see, what this third paragraph tries to tell us. Now see, I've made an arrow also over here. How do you compute ordinary rate of wages? That will be a question also. So ordinary rate of wages means the basic wages plus such allowances, including the cash equivalent of the advantage accruing through concessional sale to the workers of food grains and other articles, as the worker is for the time being entitled to, but does not include a bonus and wages for overtime work. You read it first yourself. Okay, what these guys say, whenever you are trying to compute ordinary rate of wages, no, what would you have to be taking? You have to be taking basic wages. Can you say you will have to be taking basic wages of the previous month, no?
Yes.
Okay, plus in this case, the dearness allowance, those particular things, okay, plus all the perquisites. So yesterday I gave you an example also. Suppose a worker, like, he's given, say, the thali, okay, whose cost is, say, 100 rupees, out of that 40 he pays, so therefore, 60 rupees is a subsidy up and so on, okay. So you include all those particular things, but what not to include in this particular case, bonus and wages for the overtime work. If in the last month he was being paid bonus, okay, then in that particular case, I will not include that component of bonus over here. Why? You tell me, bonus will either be Diwali bonus up and so on, or we can be saying it will be bonus for efficiency, correct, no?
Yes, sir.
Now, bonus for efficiency cannot be coming, as we cannot be assuming that the worker will also be efficient during the overtime, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see, in this case, the funda is very simple. Okay, if you were efficient in the previous month, you were given extra bonus in the previous month. That thing is settled in the previous month, no? Now for the purpose of overtime, you cannot be including that bonus also, no? Beta, if you are going to be doing that, means you are assuming that in overtime also he will be efficient. Somebody can be saying, sir, he can be efficient also. Beta, if he will be efficient, he will be paid bonus for overtime over and above the things, no? If you will be taking last month ka bonus also in this particular month, okay, you are going to be paying lot extra to the worker, in fact, for the previous month, in the current month. Okay, forget it. Okay, you tell me, ordinary rate of wages will include what I am asking you all. It will be including your basic wages, it will be including your DA, it will be including all allowances, but it should not be including what? Bonus. Example. Can we say your overtime means I am paying you something extra. So I'm going to be paying you double of the normal rate. So can we say that normal rate I will have to compute, no?
Yes, sir.
Like in the previous question, okay, we all computed the normal rate. If I'll try to say about the first question for today, I computed this particular normal rate first and then I computed that overtime rate. So therefore, this particular rate is double of this particular rate. Now, whenever you are trying to be computing this particular rate, in this particular rate, what you include? You include the basic wages. You include the dearness allowance, you include all allowances, you include all the subsidy vagera and so on vagera. Okay, you include all those particular things, but obviously you will not include the bonus, no. Okay, if bonus was paid, that was paid for the previous month. Now for the overtime of this particular month, you cannot be including all those things also, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Everybody understood this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is one thing. Okay, apart from that, one thing that ICA does not know, but I am telling you, for the purpose of overtime also, no, all these particular things are never ever included, okay, for the purpose of overtime, okay. It might not be mentioned over here, okay, it might not be mentioned over here, but in this case that is implied because these all are fixed commitments, beta, okay. These all are fixed commitments. I cannot be including these again in the overtime up and so on, okay. It is not mentioned anywhere, but it is all implied, okay. So what ICA will try to do to you all, okay, they will ask you the questions based upon this first paragraph only. Second and third, I've explained it to you because it was there in the module, but those guys will not be asking the question. But just as a reminder, okay, you can try to tell me about the 3 paragraphs. The normal rate into 2 will be his overtime rate, okay, and overtime rate can be claimed as how? Above 9 hours at single rate, over 9 hours at double rate. Apart from that, up to 48 hours at normal rate, over 48 hours at double rate. Okay, that is first thing. Second, if he is there on a piece rate system, then in that case, convert piece rate into the normal rate. Okay, normal rate means rate per hour. And how do you do that? Take the data of the previous month, compute his rate per hour, double it up, that will become the overtime rate. Okay. Apart from that, if a worker is going to be paid on fixed basis, then how do you compute his rate per hour? Okay, his rate per hour in this particular case has to be computed as you take his basic wages, you take his DA, okay, you do not include what? You do not include in this particular case the bonus and the overtime, because obviously these particular things, okay, like if suppose in the last month he did overtime, you all will understand for calculation of the rate for this particular month, I cannot include the overtime of the previous month, else rate will become too higher, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all those particular things you all do not include. So just do one small thing, wherever you find this particular paragraph in your textbooks, okay, it is there in the beginning, please. I guess on the 3rd or 4th page of your book. So I'm giving you just few words, you all write it over there. This is first para, this is second para for piece rate workers. You write down second paragraph for piece rate workers, third for fixed wages worker, the one that we all have started from yesterday, for fixed wages workers. Now listen, we are doing the questions on this, okay. Our second last question that is there is on this particular thing only. Although there will be one twist in that I always think that ICA I should not have put that line only, but it's okay, we all will manage. Okay.